But I also know players on that team that are like, oh, hell no, we don't want to.
Have you listened to Sheryl Swoopes' remarks regarding the Indiana Fever? It's not completely true that no one wants to play for them, as she claims. The story is more complicated than she may realize. In fact, the Fever are now having a successful WNBA comeback. Other players are excited to join Kelsey Mitchell now that she's back on the court. The Fever seem to have emerged as one of the most thrilling teams to watch. What exactly is happening here then? Why is Swoopes so incorrect? Let's examine why the Fever are receiving so much attention and why they are truly on fire. This season, Sheryl Swoopes has been outspoken in her criticism of Caitlin Clark and the Fever's defense, but she isn't aware of the full scope of what goes on behind the scenes.
Defensively, besides Aaliyah Boston, besides Lexi Hull, because I think Kelsey Mitchell's an okay defender. Lexi Hull, is a dog on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But besides those two, I worry about the defense. Because to your point, come playoffs, you got to be able to guard somebody.
Although Swoopes believes the Fever prioritize attack over defense, the numbers show otherwise. On both sides of the ball, the team has been working hard, and it is beginning to show. Now that Caitlin Clark has joined the team, the Fever will be even more visible. For them, things are undoubtedly improving. Next voice. Swoopes also discusses the Fever's internal drama, implying that the group is in disarray. However, upon closer inspection, we discovered something entirely different. The locker room atmosphere of the Fever is actually far different from what she is portraying. In fact, it is the exact opposite. She underestimates how cohesive the team is.
What I don't see is who is that other guard, right? Because the guard they bring in is Erica Wheeler.
Yep.
Who's the other guard that you can bring in that can defend somebody?
I think that they're the women's version of the Dallas Mavericks. And I see Caitlin being Luka.
I like that.
Kelsey Mitchell being Kyrie.
I like that.
They got pieces that are very dangerous, but they haven't decided to play defense individually.
The interesting part is that the Fever may be the WNBA's most attractive team at the moment. Most likely, you're asking how that's feasible. Other players are keen to join, and Kelsey Mitchell recently re-signed. Swoopes appears to be considering a completely different squad. Why then, is she so preoccupied with the Fever? Could it be that their success makes her feel a little threatened? Something unique is being built by the Fever. Their fan base is expanding, they have established a positive atmosphere, and the future appears promising. Players are flocking to the Fever, not the other way around.
And it's so funny to me that it's just so rough. There's a lot of shit going on and is it only with the Fever that you just so happen to know that people don't want to be in Indiana? What about the other places? Is it just the Indiana Fever? Because Caitlin Clark is there. So what possibly could be going on in a situation where you have all the fans, you're getting paid, you're nationally televised, social media is growing, you got the best fan base, your merchandise is going up, your jersey sales are going up.
Let's begin with the major announcement that has everyone talking. Kelsey Mitchell is returning. The league has received a clear message from her return. Hey, superstars. Indiana is the ideal destination, and you know what? There is little doubt that the other WNBA teams are paying attention. Next voice. Yes, Sydney Colson has joined the Fever, and three-time WNBA champion Natasha Howard is now a member of the team. We are talking about significant talent arriving in Indiana. These are not merely arbitrary additions. Why is there such a sudden rush to join the Fever then? The response is straightforward. Caitlin Clark. Her influence extends beyond her on-court performance. She is revolutionizing the WNBA as a whole. Since Clark's jersey sales are so high, other players are thinking, I want in on that. The worst part though is that the Fever are not only drawing in players but also winning over fans. Arenas are full, merchandise sales are skyrocketing, and there is more excitement about this squad than there has been in years.
But if you don't want to be here, hey, we're not forcing you to be here. We want people who want to be here. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, you know what I'm saying? Cunningham, Colson. We want players who want to be here. Kelsey Mitchell, re-sign, because you said significant pieces. It couldn't have been Alyssa Smith. It could not have been Alyssa Smith. I know that's not who we're calling significant.
The crazy aspect is that this is only the beginning. A true powerhouse is emerging from the Fever's lineup. As they consider how they will compare to this up-and-coming Indiana team, other teams are beginning to get anxious. To put it simply, you have Colson's versatility, Mitchell's ability to score, Howard's championship experience, and, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect, which is adding even more talent to the squad. Furthermore, the fan base is more enthusiastic than before. When you combine all of that, Indiana is about to experience something unique. And if you thought Swoopes had finished disparaging Aaliyah Boston, you're going to be stunned by her response.
Make this very clear, right? Let's listen to this.
Look at her. Yeah, oh no.
And Gil's point is right. And I've been saying it. A lot of people say it. When you're going to be an indie, you're going to be making more money. You're going to be having more endorsements. Your contract will be higher. You're going to get treated right. You have the facilities on the way. You're going to get the most exposure in the WNBA, period, hands down, point blank. You're going to be national televised games. You're going to have national televised games.
Do you recall how Aaliyah Boston's debut season started off poorly? According to Swoopes, the fans quickly turned against her, almost like a swift crossover. The catch is that the same fans were all over her as soon as Boston began playing well, yelling, "We love you, Aaliyah." Is Swoopes attempting to portray Fever supporters as proponents of fair weather? It's far more nuanced than that.
Shit, but tons, right? They played a lot of games the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference that rest made for this team, for individual players and for the team. But the beginning of the year, you have a player like an Aaliyah Boston, who was Rookie of the Year last year, #1 draft pick, a hell of a player. But because things weren't going the way everybody thought they should, then you got social media coming out calling her everything but a child of God. Made the kid delete her social media. And now that they're winning and she's playing better, oh my God, we love you, Aaliyah.
Let's take a moment to dissect this. Is Swoopes implying that Fever supporters are only a petty bunch incapable of embracing a rookie's success? Come on, every player experiences highs and lows, particularly during their first campaign. It is a component of the game. Fans may occasionally become irritated, but it doesn't mean they aren't still rooting for their players.
But my thing is this. So what happens when Aaliyah ain't playing well?
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and say this. She's a professional athlete. LeBron goes through it. Stephen Curry goes through it. Everybody you can think of goes through it. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Ronaldo, Messi. Every player you can think of goes through it. From college, high school, all the way to the pros. And if anything, you're making it seem like it's probably not even as bad as some of this NBA stuff. And real.
Swoopes' logic breaks down here. It's similar to a terrible zone defense. She is totally ignoring the reality that Boston is an important component of the Fever's future and not just any rookie. The supporters are engaged in her success and are aware of that. They were naturally thrilled when she began to reach her stride. It's about recognizing a young star who is coming into her own, not about being fair weather supporters.
No one's paying attention to him. So all those players on there is fighting for a light, right? Fever has this big, bright light, which means someone like Boston, you wasn't playing well, everyone don't like you, right? When you are playing well, Jesus, open up the red carpet, boom. So she's getting the red carpet treatment when she's playing well, and when she's not,
From
get the
who?
fuck
Who's
out
she
of
getting
here.
a red carpet treatment from?
Just
the
social media,
fans.
people, right?
But doesn't criticism come with the territory of being a pro athlete? Would be your question, of course. And that's precisely why Swoopes' interpretation is incorrect. Every player in the league is aware that part of the job involves handling pressure. Avoiding criticism isn't the point. What matters is how you respond to it and move on.
Was to her jersey, when they loved her jersey's moving like hotcakes. She's getting voted into the All-Star game. So it is a hate and love thing. So as the player, you have to understand that either you're gonna have this really high level hate and love, or you can be playing very great and no one notices you. But you can be playing very bad and no one notices.
And you're over here making a big deal, making it seem like there's a lot of stuff going on. So, are you saying Aaliyah Boston doesn't want to be there? I mean, like, start saying names with your statements, because you're.
Let's examine the information. When things got difficult, Boston didn't give up. Instead, she put in a lot of effort, changed her style, and began to dominate the court. What sets the great apart from the good is that kind of mental toughness, and Fever fans witness that development and cheer her on at every turn. But this is where everything starts to go haywire. Swoopes is behaving as though the fans' heat is too much for Boston to take. Really? This guy endured pressure on the biggest platforms in college basketball while leading South Carolina to a national championship. Do you honestly think she will be alarmed by a few angry tweets? No way.
You're not in the locker room. How are you expressing things like this? Goofy. How if you're not in the locker room, Sheryl Swoopes, how are you expressing these things?
Talking about more social media.
Okay.
Oh, social media. So you're just going based off social media. So where did it say, I don't want to be here in Indiana? And you're going based off social media. So you're making things up. You're making things up is what you're saying. Like right now, you're pretty much saying there's a lot of shit going on in Indiana. I don't want to be there. Significant pieces. And you're going based off social media. So you're making shit up.
Actually, what makes athletics so thrilling is Boston's journey. We enjoy seeing young athletes overcome obstacles and reach their full potential. The thrill of witnessing a celebrity rising in front of us is more important than supporters changing their minds.
The stuff toward her is petty and jealous. And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
A report that came out from the boardroom saying that since the start of the regular season, sales of WNBA merchandise are up over 500% versus the same period last year, with fan gear sales over the first half of the season at the highest in league history. Player-specific merchandise, including jerseys and t-shirts, have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in sales. Additionally, sales of league-specific merchandise like the popular orange WNBA hoodie are also up 200%. The top-selling WNBA player merch, Caitlin Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3.
Have you listened to Sheryl Swoopes' remarks regarding the Indiana Fever? It's not completely true that no one wants to play for them, as she claims. The story is more complicated than she may realize. In fact, the Fever are now having a successful WNBA comeback. Other players are excited to join Kelsey Mitchell now that she's back on the court. The Fever seem to have emerged as one of the most thrilling teams to watch. What exactly is happening here then? Why is Swoopes so incorrect? Let's examine why the Fever are receiving so much attention and why they are truly on fire. This season, Sheryl Swoopes has been outspoken in her criticism of Caitlin Clark and the Fever's defense, but she isn't aware of the full scope of what goes on behind the scenes.
Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, 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 re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal, picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted, and then they just announced a three-way trade sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever. This team in 24 hours just got exponentially better. Starting five, Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, Lexi Hall and Sophie can duke it out for the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
The interesting part is that the Fever may be the WNBA's most attractive team at the moment. Most likely, you're asking how that's feasible. Other players are keen to join, and Kelsey Mitchell recently re-signed. Swoopes appears to be considering a completely different squad. Why then, is she so preoccupied with the Fever? Could it be that their success makes her feel a little threatened? Something unique is being built by the Fever. Their fan base is expanding, they have established a positive atmosphere, and the future appears promising. Players are flocking to the Fever, not the other way around.